Well, of course, amid this coronavirus incident, this coronavirus outbreak, working from home is apparently no longer a privilege. It's become a necessity for many businesses.
Well, and joining us on the KOGO News Live Line, business strategist Mark Fenner. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, good morning.
So, the main question a lot of people want to know, does working from home mean lower productivity, especially since kids are out of school?
That's a great question, and I'm going to answer it. It depends. I think there's situations where it can bring more productivity, and I think there's situations where it's going to bring less productivity. I think if somebody is wired both physically and mentally to work at home, they're going to see they can see more of a productivity boost. But if somebody's never worked from home before and their home is their sanctuary, and when they go home they relax, it's going to take a while to create the habit of high productivity working from home.
So one of the things that a lot of people with home offices do, even if they don't have an office per se, they try to block off one area that is just for work, and then they don't go to that area unless they are working. And does that help?
Yeah, that's a great habit. You think we get anchored or we create a habit in a certain environment. I mean, when you go to bed, hopefully you go to sleep. When you go to work, you tend to turn on your work attitude and go to work. And when you start blending those, we confuse ourselves, and so we don't bring out the best in the behaviors we want in that environment. So that practice of saying, whether it's a dedicated desk or a dedicated table somewhere in your home or apartment, or if you're fortunate enough to have a home office, that's where you go to do your work, and that's where you turn on. And then when you leave that environment, you can go back to enjoying your home for the sanctuary or relaxing or whatever it is you like to do in your home.
Now, we can only imagine that bosses and managers are scrambling. How do they come up with a plan quickly?
Well, it's difficult. A lot of customers don't have the infrastructure to say, it sounds great, go work from home, but you need to have a computer. You need to be able to meet, ideally via video conference. Not every employee out there has a cell phone or has a good phone to communicate at work. I mean, you guys mentioned kids. You've got kids running around. I mean, this is just, it sounds great. Everybody go work at home. But even in a white collar or an office type of environment where you could do it, it's still not everybody has the infrastructure. And then on top of that, some jobs just require you to be in front of customers. You think airlines, you think restaurants, you think hotels. So working from home is just not an option for many of those jobs.
So if you are a boss and you're trying to come up with that plan and you're trying to implement it tomorrow, what are some tried and true work from home things that you as a boss can implement to make this easier for the employee?
Well, let's assume you've got the infrastructure to do it. I mean, you need to keep your people engaged. So meet more frequently and for less time. I'm a huge fan of the daily huddle. Just meeting daily. Increase your one-on-one meeting activity with your employees. Stay in touch with them. Keep communicating. It's a great idea to give them a peer or somebody else that they can work with so that they have that sense of connection and relationships that we get at work. And when you run your meetings, give everybody a chance to talk. Be the kind of manager or leader that gets on the phone and gets others talking and you listening. And then finally, use video conferencing as much as you can. Great solutions like Zoom are a great tool to use. But be aware that neighborhoods or apartment buildings may feel the stress of this additional bandwidth requirement, and there could be some challenges with video conferencing as more and more people go to work from home.
All right, Mark Fenner, business strategist, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Good information.
Thanks, guys.